What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing news. Amir Khan now has an opponent for December. He is set to face unbeaten Carlos Molina. Now, when I first read this article, I was like, Carlos Molina? Is he coming down in weight? Are they doing a catch weight? Amir Khan, is he moving up? That's because I was thinking about Carlos Molina, the one that fought James Kirkland and was disqualified. However, just so we're in the clear and to avoid any confusion, this is not that Carlos Molina. This is not the Carlos Molina that fights at light middleweight. This is Carlos Molina, the unbeaten prospect from California. So it's just the same name, coincidence, similar to the Danny Garcias. You got Robert Garcia, the trainer. His brother's name is Danny Garcia. He was training Victor Ortiz. And then you got Danny Garcia, the one that TKO'd Amir Khan from Philly. So it's just another one of those instances where you got two people with the same name. So just to end any confusion, it's not the Kirkland Molina. That Molina, it's a different one. I don't really know much about the guy. His record is 17-0 with one draw, 7 KOs. So I feel Amir Khan picked a pretty safe opponent. 7 KOs. It doesn't look like he's a devastating puncher. So that's good for Khan. But I do think this fight is better than the rumored fight, which was a rematch with Khan and Paul McCloskey. I think Khan has a lot to prove, and he has a lot of people who are writing him off, including myself. And a fight with Paul McCloskey, what is that saying? What statement is that making? I don't really think it does much in the mind of boxing fans. It doesn't really put him back up there in the top ranking. Paul McCloskey, if you watched the first fight with Amir Khan, it was pretty boring to me. I'd rather watch paint dry than watch that fight. But in the first fight, Paul McCloskey kind of had his arms low like Sergio Martinez. He was a pressure fighter in terms of coming forward, but he wasn't really putting together many punches, wasn't really throwing many punches. So he was like a pressureless pressure fighter. So when I heard that rumor that they were going to fight again, I was like, that's kind of a dud. But like I said, I don't know this Carlos Molina guy, the second one, so I can't really make a prediction. I do think it's a safer opponent just based on his record. Amir Khan, he just has a lot to prove, a lot to prove. And I did get a comment from Most Dope Videos. They were asking what are my thoughts on Amir Khan's new selection of Virgil Hunter as his trainer. As you guys know, Freddie Roach was his old trainer. They split, and now he's training with Virgil Hunter, who trains Andre Ward. Virgil Hunter is a good trainer. In 2011, he earned Trainer of the Year accolades. But in response to that question, I don't think it's always the trainer. Sometimes it's the fighter. You can change trainers. Like Victor Ortiz, he's training with Mayweather Sr. now instead of Danny Garcia. But I don't think that's always the solution. It really depends, and sometimes it's on the fighter. And the biggest thing being, when you're a fighter, most boxers have been in the sport since they were children. So you've probably had more than one trainer in the course of your career. And sometimes fighters develop bad habits. And it's very hard to break those habits because you're trying to undo history. You're trying to undo or unlearn 10 plus years, over a decade of different knowledge or bad habits that you might have picked up along the way. And to undo that, it's usually not an immediate result. You can get the best trainer in the world, but if you're lacking something major in your fight game, to add it's not always an easy fix. It's not always like fix a flat. It's not like just something you could just patch up. And with Amir Khan, this is my honest opinion. I know I'm going to get a lot of dislikes for it, but I got to give it to you guys raw and uncut. Be real with myself. I don't sugarcoat, and I call it like I see it. It's nothing against Amir Khan. He seems like a pretty straightforward dude, but in terms of boxing, I think he has some fatal flaws, so I don't see him getting back to that echelon of boxing where he's considered elite or top 3 pound-for-pound fighters or even top of his division. The 140-pound division is pretty stacked, and you got a lot of people that, based on their styles and based on Amir Khan's styles, would definitely be a huge threat to him. And I don't see him being able to overcome those threats. People like Lucas Matisse, he has some devastating punches, knockout power. He works the body. He seems patient. That's Amir Khan's worst nightmare. Someone with dynamite in their hands, that's patient, I don't see it. Brandon Rios, Mike Alvarado, they're fighting. That's going to be a great fight. They're both strong, young fighters, so they have the potential to knock him out. So as far as Amir Khan getting back to that upper echelon where you really just consider him a pound for pound, he was like HBO's poster boy for a moment. They were praising Khan all the time in the Zab Judah fight. Just listen to the commentary. But I don't see him getting back to that. I think he can still fight and still get some paychecks in the sport. However, I don't know if you guys realize Amir Khan was on the verge of possibly getting a fight with Floyd Mayweather Jr. before his loss to Danny Garcia. That was a fight that was actually being talked about. So what I'm referring to is getting back to that level of success where you're being pitted against a Floyd Mayweather Jr. or your huge pay-per-view draw or a huge megastar. I don't see him getting back to that level. I think there's too many people, too many speed bumps on the way that will prevent him. And based on the way he fights, I think there's too many flaws in his fight game. If you watch his previous fights, if you watch his 3 losses, in essence, he loses pretty much the same way with different opponents. And I think the blueprint on how to beat him is already out there. So if I were a fighter, I would look at it and look at Khan tapes. And one of the biggest things with Khan is everyone says he has a glass jaw. So I would try to test that. Like, well, let's see where his chin's at. If you know someone's weakness, it's easier to go directly after that and try to exploit it. So what I decided to do is, I know a lot of people are going to dislike and be mad. Let's take a look at the fighter. So I decided to do a fighter profile, give you some more insight as to why I feel his flaws can't be overcome or overcame. And let's take a look at it. We have some clips. I have the Maidana and Amir Khan fight, and this is the prime example of what I'm talking about. It also happens in other fights. Just little things like when Khan's hurt, he doesn't know how to respond. His defense is not there. And I think his defense is his biggest flaw. I would say the glass chin, but that's something you can't control. You can't really train your chin to absorb blunt force trauma. So it's not really something you can improve on. You could spar with bigger people, but like I said, you can't train a chin. So you're kind of stuck with what you have. But as far as defense, that's something you can definitely impact. That's something you can definitely train if you were working at it and you had been working on it. But with Amir Khan, just watch how he responds when he's noticeably hurt. He's not a smart fighter. He gets in these crunch situations, these crucial moments, and he doesn't know how to get through them. Like, if you watch the Danny Garcia fight, he's noticeably hurt and his legs aren't under him. He has no legs, yet he's putting his glove in front of him like, come on, like signaling Danny Garcia to come on. Like, you have no legs. Your legs are like wet noodles. And then you watch the clip that I prepared with Maidana, and Maidana is rocking him. And he's skipping all around. He gets on his bike like he's Lance Armstrong. And he doesn't know how to respond to that adversity. And he doesn't know how to overcome it. Now, can Virgil Hunter work with him and train him to the point where he can? Possibly. But in my experience and from my perspective, that is something that's going to take time. And Amir Khan's always been a 99% offensive fighter with a 1% defense. So as far as him being able to undo that and successfully make Amir Khan a complete fighter, I don't see it. I think Amir Khan fights too amateurish, like throwing a whole bunch of punches, the ambush style, and then getting out, and he's going to get caught. And like I said, I think his division's too stacked. But anyway, let's take a look at these clips. I got them queued up. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. And if you do disagree, let me know why. But I have the Maidana fight. The thing to look for is just look at how he responds when he's getting rocked. Even listen to Roy Jones Jr.'s commentary. He's like, oh, he could not let him keep hitting him with them overhand rights. Because I don't understand it. Marcus Maidana, he's a tough Argentinian fighter. He's strong. He hits hard. I got it. But he is not known as a speed demon. So Marcus Maidana, someone that is shorter than you, you're faster than them, and you have longer arms than them, you're taller than them, you're supposed to have better footwork than them. how is he landing these long, like looping rights? Like, I'm just talking about, like, he's just swinging for dear life, and he's connecting them, and he's a slower fighter. If it was a faster fighter like Mayweather, Pacquiao, Zab Judah, or someone who's known for speed and reflexes, that'd be one thing. But Marcos Maidana, and I'm not saying he's not a good fighter, but he's a slower fighter. There's no reason you should be susceptible to some of these shots that you're taking, and especially when you have a questionable chin. And it all leads me to his defense. It's his defense. He doesn't know when to get out of certain situations or when to move to the left or right. And ultimately, I think that's what holds him back. But take a look at these clips. I got it queued up, and let me know what you think.
Now Maidana finds him and lands the right hand. Maidana got in his right hand shot, and he lands it again. Oh, left hook by Maidana. Khan on the run. Minute and a half still to go in the rounds. Khan gets back in position. Maidana's confidence is growing. Khan lands a solid right hand. Maidana walks right through it. Mentally exhausting for the opponent. Even if you're beating him, you know that this stuff is coming all the time.
You cannot let him keep hitting him with that overhand right like that.
Hard right hand. Khan is tremendously wobbled. Amir should be holding on right now. Maidana clocked him big time with the right hand. Khan was momentarily out on his feet. And he's hurt again. Maidana's got his chance. Plenty of time left in the 10th. And the left hook lands for Maidana. Khan is wobbling. Khan is almost on. Will he hold? Will he hold? He will not. He pushes Maidana away. He wants to fight on wobbly legs. Too much heart. Too much heart for Khan.
He is a little bull, wild bull of the Pampas.
Oh my.
The Pampas.
Oh my God. Khan turns away from Maidana. Maidana almost blocks Cortez. Khan says he's hitting me in the back of the head.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not trying to be extra harsh on Khan. This is really how I see it. I just feel he talks a good game, and he doesn't necessarily always back it up. And he has some fatal flaws in the game. He says just predictions that won't happen, similar to Freddie Roach. He was saying before the Danny Garcia loss that he was ready for Mayweather. Oh, I feel Mayweather's on the decline, and after I leave 140, I'm going to move up to 147, and after I knock out Danny Garcia has never faced an opponent like me, and after we knock him out, because of what his father said, it really just shows you the class. It just shows you the class of people, really. And after I knock out Danny Garcia, will I still be overrated? Come on, man. Khan, that didn't happen. That's not what happened. What happened to all the stuff you were saying? And I've basically been through 2 training camps, and it's really motivated me for the knockout, to go for the knockout. Anyway, man, stay tuned. This is part 1. Part 2 of the breakdown continues. Coming soon. Ego. Till next time, subscribe, comment, hate. You know the routine. Ego, signing off.